New Zealand M&A remained high in the second quarter of this year, continuing a run of heightened levels of deal activity. A few headwinds are starting to emerge, however, and to discuss those, I'm joined by PwC partner Amy Ellis. Amy, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start, I suppose, with the sort of high-level numbers. What did we actually see coming through in the second quarter of this year?
Yeah, so Q2 was another strong quarter in deal-making terms. 58 deals were announced or reported. That's up on the same period last year and up on the first quarter of the year.
So absolutely no slowing down going on at all?
No slowing, yeah.
What's been driving that broadly?
Look, I think it's important to note, I guess, that the deals that are done in Q2 of 2022 started sometime before. So most of them would have been 6 or 12 months in the making. So rewind to what was happening 6 or 12 months, we were all living through a really buoyant period of time. So I think it was just a continuation of those trends that we've talked about before and the strong conditions we saw in 2021 that has seen those transactions follow through.
Any particular sectors standing out over the last 3 months or so?
Yeah, there is definitely a bias towards technology, and there was also a large number of industrials transactions this period. And I guess, you link that to where the interest came from. We saw a lot of offshore interest, as you know, remarkable interest from Australia and the United Kingdom, notably sort of trade as well as financial investors. And I think if you can link those things together, technology is a sector that's easily portable.
Right.
And scalable in an international sort of sense, so will naturally attract international interest. And industrials, I guess you probably draw a link there. They tend to be opportunities of scale, and again, international buyers, when they come this far to New Zealand to invest, they tend to be opportunities of scale. So trying to connect the dots there. Right,
okay. How much longer do you think tech, for instance, might have to play out? It seems like we've been talking about tech deals for a long time as well.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of tech still to come. We are digitally, we're going through a transformation of our whole economy from a digital perspective, and I'm really proud of the quality tech businesses that come out of this part of the world, and we probably undersell ourselves there. We're known for developing good tech. I think there's still a long way to go.
Half of the deals in the last quarter involved offshore buyers. You already talked about that a little bit. Is it mostly just Australia or other? Yeah,
always get good interest from Australia. We saw quite a good level of interest from the United Kingdom, which is interesting because it's just a bit further, and then spread from everywhere else. Look, Australia, it's arguable from an economic standpoint whether we're sort of one economic region. We always see good interest from the Australians, so that sort of makes sense. And again, the UK is probably notable.
So, say this year compared to this time last year, the conditions have changed a little bit, the macro conditions. I mean, what would you say is the case for the pipeline still being strong and for activity to still be quite strong for the rest of the year?
Yeah, really topical question, obviously, at the moment, because we have seen a significant shift in the underlying environment, economically and geopolitically speaking. I think there is still a case for strong activity over the balance of the year. You look at the capital flows, we've still got an abundance of capital flows in strategic balance sheets, the trade balance sheets, as well as private equity. So that supports the level of activity. We've got sectors which are still drawing really strong interest and are resilient in nature, being sort of education, healthcare, infrastructure-like businesses. And so we expect that those will continue to draw a lot of interest. And we can also look at our own pipeline, and we can see it's pretty full for the rest of the year. So that's positive as well.
What about on the other side, though? Some of the headwinds that are starting to emerge? What are you sort of most keeping your eye out on, I suppose?
Yeah, look, I mean, you only just have to read the newspapers, right? Everyone's aware there are some major challenges, economically speaking, in Europe, particularly with inflation and everything that they're living through. So it wouldn't take much to just, it is quite finely balanced, I think, at the moment. Wouldn't potentially take much. We're also hearing anecdotally some of these pressures around labour capacity constraints, inflation locally and closer to home are starting to sort of pinch a little bit, and that would potentially change behaviours from a decision-making perspective, whether that drives growth, performance or investment.
Amy, thanks very much for your time.
No problem.